Hello everyone, Gaza Mutkarsh, and I welcome you all to this session on data handling in Excel. So guys, let's have a look at the agenda for this session. The agenda for this session includes understanding data validation and named ranges, and we shall also be implementing the sum family and the count family. Sum family includes functions essentially like sum, sumif, and sumifs, and in the count family we'll be looking at functions such as count, countif, and countifs. So previously we have discussed how to work with VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, and index and match functions, right? So guys, let's switch to the Excel window. So guys, this is the data that we have in the Excel. Over here, I'm having name, then I have the age column, then I have the joining date, then we have the salary. Next, I'm having the payment, and I'm also having the wake up time. All right. Let's assume this is also a column. So for this kind of a data, why do we need data validation in the first place? First of all, we'll be starting with the data validation. So when we talk about data validation, right, we essentially imply that we need to ensure that the data that a particular cell is taking, right, or the value that a particular cell uh, means whatever we are feeding in a particular cell, it has to follow certain validation rules. For instance, for the name, maybe I can set the validation rule that the length of the name should not be more than maybe 20 characters, 30 characters. Likewise, for age column, I want to ensure that the age should be between 20 and maybe 45. Likewise, for joining date, I can ensure I want to set up a validation that the joining date has to be between maybe between 2021 and 2024. Likewise, for salary, I want to set a validation that the salary should vary between maybe 25,000 all the way up to 70,000. For the payment, I want to ensure that the payment has to be either of the three. It has to be either UPI, cash, or EMI. All right. So this is how the data validation works. So this is the core, let's say, intuition behind applying the data validation to ensure that the data being entered in a cell follows some particular rules or some constraints. Likewise, we can apply it on different type of columns to ensure that the data entered is valid and follows certain rules and regulations. So let's see how do we implement the data validation. So first of all, I'll be implementing this in the age, right? So means we do have data validation of different forms. So we can apply it on let's say whole number. All right, I'll show you the different options that we have and where can we find this data validation. So we have to go to the data tab. Inside the data tab, right, this button over here is the data validation. All right, so let's read the definition. So let's say picks from a list of rules to limit the type of data that can be entered in a cell. So basically whatever we are entering in a cell, we are applying certain restrictions onto that. That is how we are applying the data validation. So suppose if I click on data validation, so first of all, we have to select a cell onto which I can apply the data validation. But before selecting a cell, let's have the different validation criteria. So we can allow the value to be a whole number, decimal, list, date, time, text length, and custom. So we'll check, let's say, majority of these data validation rules. So let me write them one by one. So currently I'm cancelling it. So it can be applied on, let's say, whole number. Then it can be applied on decimal, then it can be applied on date, it can be applied on time, it can be applied on text length. Then we can choose to have data validation of the format of let's say list. So let's apply them one by one. So first of all, let's say I'm applying it on the age. All right, so age, for the age, the data validation would be whole number. So I need to ensure that whatever value that I enter in the, let's say, row number 10, the age should lie between maybe between let's say 22 and 50. I need to ensure that the age should be between 22 and 50. So let's see how can we apply this. Now just click over here and then next we can click on data validation. So the allow value, I want to choose whole number, and data between, I can choose not between, equal to, not equal to, greater than, less than. So these are the rules. Currently I'm choosing between, means we can choose to have less than, greater than equal to, less than equal to. So I want let's say the age entered should be between 22 and maybe 48, or let's go for 50. So this is the range that I've entered. Input message, so if you want to pass some input message, so I can pass this error alert. So the style is stop. All right, I want to stop. So the title, I'm not passing any title. Error messages, invalid age entry. All right, means it will not allow me to enter this value. No matter what, it will not allow me to enter this invalid entry. So now if I click on OK. All right, so as you can see now over here, if I enter some age, maybe suppose I'm entering, let's go for 27. So that is not an issue. Maybe I do have some new names. So I'm having, let's say, Rishabh. All right, so for this particular employee, or maybe let's say customer, this is the age that I've entered. That is not an issue. But instead of 22, if I enter the age maybe 19, so just observe over here, I'm getting invalid age entry. So it is asking me to retry. So maybe if I write 34, now it works. If I write maybe 56, again it's an invalid entry, invalid age entry, because the age range that I set was between 22 and 50. So I have to reset it. So I'm setting this to maybe 41. All right, so now as we can see, this has been handled. Next we have, I can apply this to the joining date as well. So what is the data type of joining date? The data type of joining date is the date column. So we have to apply, let's say, data validation on the date. So again, I'm going to, let's say, date column, and this time go to settings. I have to apply this on uh, their date, right? And date between, so I want to apply this between 01 2022, between 2022 and between let's say 12, okay, this is 31/12 and then 2024. So between 1st Jan 2022 and 31st December 2024. So this is the date range that I've entered. Let's click on OK. So now if I were to enter a date, so it can accept dates between 2021 and 2024. So if I'm entering maybe, let's say, 17 and then maybe 8 and then 2022, so this is a valid date, it can accept it. But what if I change this to 2020? Now will it accept it? No, it says the value doesn't match the data validation restrictions defined for this cell. So I can retry. So see, it will not ask me to proceed further. So maybe I can write 2022. So now this is a valid date range. So there are a couple of more things that we can apply. So again, I'll go back to this data validation. So see, this rule has been applied. I can type the input message. So the input message is the date entered must be between, let's say, 1st Jan 2022 and 31st December 2024. This is 1st Jan 2022 and then 31st December 2024. So next, if I click OK, so the rule is still valid. I've just entered the input, let's say, message. So over here, I can see the input message as well. The date entered must be between 1st Jan 2022 and 31st December 2024. So it's acting like a tooltip, right? So maybe I can change this. So besides 2022, let's change it to 2025. So again, it should not work. I'm getting this error message, right? So how to change this? So I have to set it between a specified range. So now this is working. Now again, I can apply this for salary. So salary is again the whole number which I've already applied. So maybe what if, all right, I'm not passing currently, let's say, I'm not going for the whole number again. I can pass any salary. Let's say I'm passing 65,000. Next, I want to ensure the payment type. So payment has to be these three options. Payment has to be these three options only. So currently we have seen whole number, and then we have said date, right? So next I'll be choosing list. Next I'm going for list. So the payment option has to be one of these three, either UPI, cash or EMI. So देखते हैं इसको हम कैसे apply कर सकते हैं. So to apply this, again go to data validation, and over here I'll go to settings. The value type I'll choose as list. All right, currently over here I'm going for list, and what is the source? The source is UPI or cash. All right, so please ensure the spelling is correct, and the next is EMI. So there shouldn't be any space, so I'm passing EMI. So these are the only three options that the user can select. So means, of course, there won't be any title, and I cannot enter anything else because it is going to be a drop down, right? The type that I've chosen is a list. So click on OK. Now over here, see, there is no option of choosing anything else. I can go for only these three options. There is no option for choosing anything else, right? Over here, I cannot write, let's say, maybe net banking. Okay, so if I write this, it's not accepting it, right? It's not accepting it. So again, I'll have to choose one of these three. So maybe I can pass let's say some message. So what is the message that we can pass over here? I can go for data validation, and the message that I can pass over here is, so input message. So payment mode has to be UPI, EMI or cash only. So now this will be displayed, right? Next I can go for the wake up time. So let's say I'm going for the wake up time somewhere between 6 to 9:30, right? This is going to be my wake up time. So how can I apply this on this wake up time, the data validation? To apply this, what can be done? Just click over here, go to data validation, and over here I'm going for the settings, and the settings, this is going to be time. So maybe I can go for between, I can go for greater than. So let's say this time I'm going for less than, right? So time has to be less than, the end time has to be maybe 9:30. So anything less than 9:30 is acceptable, but greater than 9:30 it won't accept. So I'll pass the input message. Let's say wake up time has to be less than 9:30 a.m. All right, and error messages invalid, then wake up time. So let's click on OK. So okay, there's a spelling mistake, let me correct this. So input messages, wake up time has to be, so it has to be less than 9:30 a.m. right? So now I've clicked it. So suppose if I write maybe 6:45, so this is acceptable. Now if I were to write maybe, let's say 10:05, so will it accept it? No, it's not going to accept it. Over here I'm getting invalid wake up time. So it has to be something less than 9:30. So maybe what I can pass 9:05, so this will accept. This is how it can accept it, right? So time also we have seen. Now for salary, maybe I can, let's say, enter the decimal values as well, so that I can apply this. Let's change this to decimal. So I can go to home, and instead of general I'm going for number. So I do have the decimal values, right? So let's apply this on the decimal values as well. So again I'll go to the data, and I'm going for data validation. So this time I'll be applying it on the decimal. So for the decimal, again let's go for between, and the minimum value is maybe 25,000, and the maximum value that I'm going to pass is, let's say, 75,000, right? So this is 75,000 that I've passed, and click on OK. So if it is between 20,000 and 75,000, was it 20 or 25? So it's 25,000 and 75,000. So if I were to pass, okay, I'll add some error message, not an input message, but an error message. So salary must be between 25k and 75k only. All right, this is what I'm passing. Click on OK, and that's done. So over here, maybe if we can pass, let's say 64,000. So this is done. Currently I'm getting no errors. But now if I were to pass, let's say 24,500, so I'm getting an error. Salary must be between 25k and 75k. So guys, this is how, let's say, we can handle the data validation. So currently we have seen, okay, let me handle this. So currently this is 64,000. So we have seen, let's say, the data validation when it comes to whole number, when it comes to decimal, date, time. Next we'll look for the text length. So for the name, over here I'll be applying data validation for text length, and the text length that I'm going for over here is somewhat between, let's say the minimum length should be 3, the maximum should be 7. All right, the maximum should be 7. So if I click on OK, currently the Rishabh contains let's say 7 characters. But if I were to write let's say some bigger name, all right, if I were to write some bigger name, for instance Ashutosh, so this contains 8 characters. So this says that it is not matching the defined, right? So maybe I can change this to Mahesh. Now it is accepted. So guys, we have seen the different types of data validation, essentially whole number, decimal, date, time, text length, and the list. So these are the different data validations that we have applied. Next, if I were to check, let's go to the, let's check the name ranges, right? So this is the name range. So how can we select a name range, and what is its purpose? Suppose these are the employee profiles, these are the corresponding departments. So I want to set the name range for the department, so it will be displayed as a table, right? So it will be displayed as a list or as an array. So how can we apply this? Just go to formulas, and over here I can click name manager. So currently one of the name range I've set. Let me delete this. So delete it. Now I'm going for a new name range. Let's call this department. I'll be calling it department, and this is the range. So the scope is entire workbook. So this is the range. Alright, so this has been created. So what is the purpose? Suppose I'm on this sheet. Now I want to display, I want to head over to all the departments. So if I just click over here and go to click on department, it will redirect me to this department. So this is meant to, let's say, navigate between multiple pages without actually having to go for the sheet. Alright, next, suppose for the profiles, I want to apply the name ranges. So how can we apply this? So if I were to apply this on the profile, right? So profile में apply करने के लिए what can be done? So first I'll be selecting this data. Alright, this is my data, and then again go to name manager. So new, and this will be a profile. I'm calling this profile, and the scope is entire workbook. So okay. So now even this is done. So again, if I'm over here, if I search for profile, so it will redirect me over here. Now can we delete this? Yes, it can be deleted, it can be renamed. So first let's check how can we rename this. So go to the name manager. So for the profile, instead of profile, let me edit this. I'll call this profile 2. Alright, so now it's no longer profile, it has to be profile 2. So suppose over here I'm on this sheet, and I'm searching for profile. So just click over here, click on profile 2, it will redirect us to this S3 sheet where we have the profiles, right? So how do we delete the name ranges? Just let's say again go to name manager, click on maybe department, and then I can click on delete. So it will be deleted. So if I go to profile, if I go to edit, this is what we have. All right. So this is how we can apply this. This is how we can apply this. So over here we have the profile, and then we do have the department. So this is how we can implement the name ranges. Next, let's look at the sum family and the count family functions. So let's observe the data at hand. The data that we do have over here is it contains roll number, name, first name, last name, age, city, subject, score. So this is the data that we have. First, let's look at the sum function, right? So suppose I want to compute the sum of the scores. So how can this be done? So the data, let's say, varies from the data is present from cell number G2 all the way up to cell number G21. So how can I compute the sum? I just need to write sum of G2 to G21. So this will sum this entire range. Alright. So the sum of scores is 1442. We can validate this by selecting this entirely, and then we can check the sum over here, which is 1442. So this is the sum. Alright, let's call the sum score. And if I want to know count of scores, so how do we count the scores? So I just need to write count of, and maybe G2 to G21. So this will give me count of all the records from starting from G2 all the way up to G21. So we have 20 records, 20 scores, and the sum of scores is 1442. All right. So guys, this is the simple sum and the count function. So maybe I can write the formula text, and I want to know the formula text for G23, and I want to know the formula text for H23. Okay, not let's say G24. So this is the formula that we have used, right? So this is the basic sum and the count formula. Next, I want to apply, let's say, SUMIF. SUMIF is used to apply sum based on one particular condition. So it has to be only for one particular condition. Suppose for each of the subject I want to find the sum of scores. So how can this be done? Over here I can write SUMIF, and inside the SUMIF I can mention, I have to mention range, criteria, and the sum range. So I have to select the range where I can find the subject from. So where is this range present? It is present from F2 to F21. So between F2 to F21, my criteria would be, let's say, J5. J5 is the subject, right? J5 is the subject for which we wish to compute the sum. So guys, this is what we have. This is what we have. And what is the sum range? The sum range is G2 to G21. So if I currently run this, it will only be computed for Python. So for Python, the sum of score is 349. Let's validate. So over here, I'm selecting the scores only where the subject is Python. All right, then we have Python over here, and Python over here. So for these 5 cells, what is the sum? The sum is 349, right? The sum that we have over here is 349. So this is correct, but let's make it dynamic. So F2 to F21, this let's say subject range is fixed. So I can freeze this, then I can freeze G2 to G21. Again, we can freeze this as well, and then we have the J5. So for J5, I can freeze the J because 5 would vary, right? 5 would still vary. So if I execute this is 349, then I just need to drag it all the way up to here. So for each of the subjects, I do get to see the sum score. Maybe we can validate this for Power BI as well. So for Power BI, what is the subject score? It is 74, then 91, then 74 plus 91, right? So this is 165, and what do we have? 165, so it's correct. So what is the formula used? So over here I'll be writing the formula text for this is K5. Alright, so if I were to drag this, so this is the formula used. Alright, so this is how we can implement SUMIF. So SUMIF works only if I want to find sum based on one particular condition. What if I need to find sum based on multiple conditions? That is when SUMIFs is used. So SUMIFs is used to apply the sum function on multiple conditions. So suppose I want to find sum of scores where the city is Mumbai and the subject is ML. So how can this be done? Over here I'll be writing SUMIFs, and the sum range is G2 to G21, and then the criteria range 1 where the city is Mumbai. So this would be E2 to E21 where the city is Mumbai, and then the subject is ML. So city I have to mention Mumbai. So over here I'll be writing Mumbai, and then the criteria range 2 is F2 to F21, and this F2 to F21, this would be this is Mumbai, and then we have the subject is ML. So this is ML. So for Mumbai and ML, what is the sum of score? It is 115. Now I want sum of scores where city is Pune and score less than 80. So this would be SUMIFs, and the sum range would be G2 to G21. This is G2 to G21, and then the criteria range where the city is Pune. So city Pune is E2 to E21. E2 to E21. The city has that I'm setting up over here is Pune. So I can write Pune, and then the second criteria is score less than 80. So maybe G2 to G21, and it has to be less than 80, right? So less than 80. So this is what I'm summing it up. So it is 149. So I can mention the formula over here. This would be formula text. So formula text for the cell, this is J16. This is J16, and what is the formula over here? This would be formula text for J14. Alright, so guys, this is what we have written. Now I want sum of score when where student's name ends with A, and let's say the subject is ML. Alright, so student name ends with A. So how can this be written? So this would be SUMIF. Alright, the sum range is G2 to G21, and then the criteria range, let's say where student name ends with A, name has to be from B2 to B21, ends with A, so means we can write it like this. Alright, star A. So it is ending with A, and then the subject is ML. So subject would be F2 to F21, and the subject is ML. So over here I can write ML. So guys, this is the sum over here is 130. Alright, over here the sum is 130. So I can mention the formula text. So what is the formula text that I'm using over here? This is J18, right? Over here I do have J18. So guys, this is what we have. This is how we can apply SUMIF, 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 and SUMIFs. Likewise, we can explore the COUNTIF family. So if I were to count, let's say city-wise count of records. So city-wise count of records. So how can this be done? This can be done using the count. So over here I need to apply count if, and what is the range? Suppose let's count the city column. So city column is from this is from E2 to E21, right? E2 to E21. And then what is the criteria? The criteria is let's say R5. This is the criteria, E2 to E21. Over here I'll be writing E21. So I can freeze this because this has to be frozen, and R I can freeze. So that's it. The count is 4. If I were to drag this, this is what I'm getting, right? So for Delhi we have 4 records. Let's check. For Delhi we have 4 records only. Yes, clearly we do have 4 records for Delhi. And for Mumbai, how many records do we have? 3, 4, and then 5. For Mumbai we have 5 records. So this is what I'm getting. So this is correct. Now over here I can mention the formula text, and I have to write the formula text for this is going to be for let's say S5. This is S5, and then I can simply drag this. Alright, so guys, this is how we can utilize the COUNTIF. Next, if I were to utilize, let's say, COUNTIFs. So COUNTIFs is used, let's say, if I were to count for, let's say, multiple conditions. Count based on multiple conditions. So count all the rows where age greater than 25 and the subject is Python. So maybe I can write this would be COUNTIFs. COUNTIFs, what I'm supposed to count. So suppose let's say I'm counting A2 to A21. All right, what is this is the criteria 1 range. Okay, criteria 1 range would be age greater than 25. So where is the age column? Age column is D2 to D21. Now age is greater than 25. So greater than 25, I can write it like this. This would be greater than 21, and the subject is Python. So as far as the subject is concerned, so subject is present in let's say F2 to F21. So this is F2 to F21, and the subject is Python. So over here I can mention Python. All right, so let's see the count. So the count is 5, where age greater than 25 and the subject is Python. So subject Python, how many records do we have? 1, 2, then we have, let's say, 3, 4 and 5. And for all these records, right, for all these records, what is the age? Age greater than 25, right? Okay, I've mentioned 21, so this has to be 25. So now I'm only getting one record. So see, for Python, age 22, so this is not valid. 23, again not valid. Then we have Python 25, so this is not valid. This is the valid one, right? So only this is the valid record, so the count is only 1, and that is correct. So what is the formula that I've used? So over here I'll be writing formula text. So formula text for this would be R14. Alright, this is the find all the rows where the subject is Python or ML. So this is simply subject is Python or ML, so I can just write this would be count if, or maybe if I were to solve this with count ifs. So criteria range 1 and the criteria where the subject is Python, subject column is present in F, right? So this is F2 to F21. So this is F2 to F21, and the range is Python. So over here I can simply mention Python. So this is let's say the count of Python, and then maybe count ifs F2 to F21, and over here the subject is ML. So this would count the sum of Python plus ML. So this is 11. So let's count Python plus ML. So this is Python, ML, ML, Python. Okay, maybe I can apply the filtering, right? So let's go to home, and then let's say filter. So over here I just want to show Python, and the other one is ML. And guys, this is what we have. So for Python and ML, we have a total of 11 records. This is what we are getting over here. So this is correct. So select all, and then OK. Next, we can check it for a count of all the rows where score is greater than 80 and city is not Delhi. So this would be count ifs. So this is G2 to G21, score is greater than 80, right? So G2 to G21, and the score is over here. I have to mention greater than 80. So this is greater than 80. And the second condition is city is not Delhi. So city we have in E2 to E21, right? So we have E2 to E21, city is not Delhi. So not I can write like this, and this is how I can write Delhi. So where the sum of score, okay, let me write the formula text. So this would be formula text for R16, and then this is the formula text. All right, then this would be the formula text. So formula text for R18, right? So this is what we have solved. Count of students who score between 70 and 80, both inclusive. So over here I can write count ifs score between 70 and 80, right? So this would be G2 to G21, and first I'll be writing the score is greater than 70, and then G2 to G21, and then score is less than equal to 80. So how many records have scored between 70 and 80? So we have 7 students, right? So again over here I can mention the formula text, and then I can mention let's say R20. So guys, this is how we have implemented let's say sum ifs, count if, and count ifs. So guys, that brings us to the end of this session. Let's switch to the PPT. So guys, in this session we have understood data validation and named ranges. We have also understood sum and sumif and the sumifs function, and we have also implemented and understood count if, and countifs functions. So guys, in the next session we'll be moving on to the Power Query in Excel. Thank you.